Hey, vinyl community, how's it spinning? And I know you can't hear anything, and so I will have to take this off. Okay. Hey, how's everybody doing? I'll do this instead. Yeah. Okay. So this is second concert review type of deal. The first one is not up anymore, but I don't know. I may put it up later. I don't know. But anyway, yeah. It's Monday, July 2nd. This is 2 days after the opening date of Mayhem Festival 2012, and it was amazing. And the weather was probably the best weather that could have had. Um, the weather was amazing. Um, was mid to high 90s, and there was a steady breeze all day, and it was just awesome. And all the bands, at least that I saw, because I didn't get a chance to see everybody. I saw a couple of the early bands. Got some autographs, and picked up CD. Um, Lost my hat, uh, but that's okay. I can, but there's a reason why I didn't. There's a reason I didn't bring my Slayer hat because I figured I was going to lose it. But anyway, um, I'll get started though with let me see. Uh, yeah, Jägermeister Lanyard. I'm collecting this stuff and I don't drink this shit. Um, yeah, check these guys out. If you guys are into metal, um, check them out. They got a Facebook. Um, yeah, I don't know how well you can read that or not, but definitely check out their Facebook. Um, they're a they're a local band from Ontario, California, and totally kicked ass. So go check them out. They were one of the first bands to go on, and they totally just kicked ass. But there's before I get to the one unfortunate casualty of the day was not being able to see Anthrax. Uh, I'd seen them before. Uh, they were a headliner on a side stage, and I was in the pit, so I had to get up close because there were people lining up. Basically, as soon as the gates opened, there were people lining up for uh, the pit area on the main stage. So I had to hustle over there. And I did. I actually was in line at that entrance for like 2 hours, 2.5 hours, something like that, to get on over there. Um, but I could hear Anthrax from where I was at. Um, Basically, was really weird though. Um, it's a younger crowd because everybody was there to see Slipknot. I was like one of the only guys with long hair, the only one around me headbanging in the pit, surrounded by teenage girls. It was just I was like I was in a fucking twilight zone. That part, a lot of what happened, I was anticipating and expected. Um, all the teenage girls in the pit, that was a little bit different. And that kind of, it changed the dynamic a little bit. Um, Not complaining. It was just really weird. Um, the one thing I the one thing I will say, um, is, I hope, because I know at least, Marcus is going, and I hope the security does a better job, at your venue, because the security was one of the worst I'd ever seen. I've been to more concerts at that venue than any other venue that I've gone to, and there's probably, let's see, that's four Ozfest, two Mayhem, and, Metal Masters, and this was the worst security that I've ever had to ever seen, because they just flat out left, and people were getting in the pit that didn't have pit tickets. They were just jumping the fence. Security didn't do shit, and they were just total fucking assholes. And it really, that was probably the only negative. That's the only negative thing. Of course, the music is gonna make up for anything, because I mean, that's what we're there for, and those bands are so good. Except for, um, Devil Wears Prada. Uh, but just that was one of the things. Security better step. I don't know whether it was the the promoters, or if it was, um, the people at San Manuel, but horrible security. They let a lot of shit slide, and just they were pretty much non-existent. Um, People crowd surfing were a joke, because they'd end up falling. When it was the funniest thing. Everybody started to fall once they got to the front. It was just a security was ridiculous. Um, just absolutely ridiculous. And the cops, even though they were all over the place, they were nowhere where they were supposed to be. You want them out of the way so they don't fuck shit up, but you know, anyway. But I'm gonna keep this positive, um, for the most part, because that's definitely the mood. It was a different kind of crowd, and there was a little bit of culture shock for me, um, because it was like, you know, through when Motorhead came on stage, the only song anybody knew was Ace of Spades, which is just, it's criminal. It's criminal. And, person I went with was who stayed in the back. They couldn't get up front. Said that they were booing. A lot of people were booing during, Motorhead's set, which is absolutely stupid. Um, but anyway, moving on to, moving on here. Um, this is pretty much all of, Slayer's set. So there's some spoilers. The only songs that are not, on here that I remembered and didn't write down, was, Dead Skin Mask and Mandatory Suicide. But they had, amazing set, amazing stage show. They were on from the word go. They, as always, they are the highlight. I mean, no disrespect to Slipknot, because honestly, they're not one of my favorite bands. I had seen them before. Um, I left because when Slayer's done, as far as I'm concerned, concert's over. The other thing is, though, there's no way that they could have. There's no way that they could have, after the set that Slayer played, there's no way they could have topped it. And there were people. I was in the parking lot. I could still hear people screaming for Slayer. You know, long after they'd left the stage. Excuse me. I'm having a little bit of problem with the voice. Um, and I'm sore as shit. Feet, knees, arms, eye. No injuries. Um, but I'm still, you know, sore as a motherfucker. Um, and but it's definitely worth. That's definitely. I mean, was amazing, amazing, amazing. Um, and you know, love everything. I got to see everybody who I wanted to see. Um, Again, continuing with Slipknot. I'd seen him before. I saw him play with Paul Gray a number of years ago. Um, like I said, I'm not the biggest fan, admittedly, because I really just they're not really my type of metal. The elements that they brought in, namely the turntables and everything. The thing is, I'm happy for them. Um, I'm I'm glad that they're back on stage as Slipknot. Um, just you know, it's an awful thing. You know, when something like what happened happens, and then again, when they're so young. I mean, even in the case of Dio, they're just when they're so young like that, it's even harder, and it sucks. But unfortunately, that's this thing we call life. Um, but I've got a couple of other things to show you guys. If you'll give me a minute. And again, a big assist um, goes out to my dad. Here, I'll take this off. Um, there's one. Check this out. Here, yeah, there you go. You know who that is. And this is my second poster. This one isn't personalized. The other one is. And so that is awesome. And then check this out. So if you guys are interested in, I found this out after the concert, of course, because I was overdoing other things. I was mostly doing a lot of walking. Um, if you can, get to the Jägermeister tent. Just Carrie will be doing signings. You do have to be at least 21, because that's the rules. But definitely, if you get a chance, go big. I don't. Clowns also. It's depending on the venue, because one venue I overheard people talking, because we were looking at the schedules, saying that there were several venues where Slipknot's set is only a half hour, which is really kind of retarded. Um, but I don't know. I got they were there for the full. They they played a full set. Um, San Bernardino. Um, but that kind of sucks. Um, them being the headline act and only playing for that, so there's probably something going on. But yeah, definitely if you can make it. Clown was doing some signings. Just about everybody else, but it depends on the intent. But if you're into that, and you're curious about that, just go cruise around, because they can, she'll be able to do it. Um, pretty much, pretty much that's that's pretty much what I got to say. I mean, in a word, it was amazing, and definitely definitely worth going to see. Um, Probably in just about every case, it's worth going year after year. In my case, I'm going just depending on who's on the bill, but you know, thing of it is, it probably still worth it. Um, and yeah, Slayer absolutely tore it up. Motorhead was awesome, but it was real funny. The kind of crowd, and it's like, I guess you could say pretty much it's official now. I was born 20 years too late. Seriously, I couldn't believe it. I surrounded by underage girls, only guy with long hair, the only one headbanging. I couldn't believe it. Um, but anyway, uh, so that's about gonna wrap it up. Um, if you're going, be safe, have a kick-ass time. If you're not going, you should be, especially if you're in this type of music, because it is amazing, and it's, of course, I have to admit a heavy bias, but Slayer is worth the price of admission alone, because they continue every single time. They blow the fuck out of my head, and Tom's voice was probably the best I'd ever heard, ever. Um, in the last, probably 20 years of recordings and all that kind of stuff that I've heard, he was spot on. Everybody was spot on, and Gary Holt, you know, once again holds it down. Anyway, to wrap this up, um, to the fellow VC members in the USA, um, have a happy and safe, no incident, no bullshit Independence Day. Um, stay indoors. Try to stay cool and enjoy, everybody.